If somebody asked you what animal comes to mind when you hear the name Jesus, a lot of us would think of a lion or maybe a lamb. But what if I was to tell you that one of the most clearest pictures of Jesus's identity and purpose and mission was a worm? There's a worm right here in Psalm 22, and honestly it preaches the gospel far more clearly than my words can. It's a specific type of worm that has fascinated theologians for centuries because it leads us right into the heart of the cross and the crown. I am a worm and not a man. A worm. You can hear, can't you, the raw and honest pain and suffering of the cross as Jesus quotes this psalm from the cross and sees himself as small and insignificant, nothing. I'm not a man, says Jesus in this moment. I am a worm. You know, the cross shows us really powerfully that Jesus came to identify with the lowest. And for some of us today, maybe we just need to hear that afresh. That at your lowest point, at your lowest place, that's not the place of God's absence. God has been there, right down in the depths of human experience. He's not standing over you, he's standing next to you in those moments. And when we reach those places, that could possibly be the moments of greatest connection with Jesus. But one of the fascinating things about this psalm is Jesus doesn't just call himself a worm. In the Hebrew, there's a specific word, tola, that's being used, which means a crimson worm. And the crimson worm acted in several different ways, which kind of point us to the reality of what was happening on the cross. Firstly, one of the things that the crimson worm would do would be to climb a tree when it was time to give birth, and it would cling to the tree. It would attach itself to the wood. And so if you're walking past a tree in Israel, you might see a crimson worm that had climbed up, waiting to give birth, clinging to the wood. And Jesus picks this image, picks this animal, picks this moment to describe what is happening. Yes, he was nailed to the cross, but it was not the nails that held him there. Jesus has chosen this. Jesus has embraced this calling, this mission, this sacrifice, this suffering. You know, this worm shows us the depth of Jesus' love. Jesus' life is not taken from him. He has laid it down so that you would know, so that there would be a point in history and a point on the map that you could point to when you need to be reminded that yes, Jesus loves me. The cross, the Bible, tells me so. But wait, there's more. As this worm climbs the tree and clings on to the bark, some of the dye that it produces is excreted and stains the bark of the tree this crimson, dark red blood colour, so you could see where worms had been, or you could see where they were by following this trail, this crimson thread. Now, in the ancient world, that dye was used for two different types of clothing, for the robes of kings and priests. And so the cross, far from disqualifying Jesus from his claims to priesthood or kingship or to be divine, is actually what reveals his true nature, his true calling, his true identity. It's revealed through his suffering. Now, it may be that for some of us today, there are stains in our lives. There are things we wish weren't there. There are pains that we've been through. But what if those stains are actually signs of a ministry, of a calling, of a purpose? What if people were to trace those stains to Jesus and to see the healing and hope that comes from the true God, the true King, the true priest? But there's more. Another fascinating thing about this worm is that it climbs up the tree to give birth. And as it gives birth, it literally gives its life. It dies. And then its body becomes nourishment, becomes food for its young. Amazing that Jesus should choose this creature, this moment, this image. This is a death that gives life and health and growth. It's through Jesus' death that true life can. Another fascinating thing about this worm is that as it climbs up the tree and clings to it and gives birth, the process claims the worm's life. As it's giving life to its young, it dies, and then its body becomes nourishment for the young. Literally, its flesh becomes their bread. And again, Jesus, it's no accident that he quotes this psalm, this creature, this moment. I am a worm and not a man. I give my life, and out of this death will come life and healing and health and growth for those who come after me. It's an incredible picture of his purpose. And the New Testament calls us, doesn't it, consistently, not just to look to the cross, but to live the cross, to walk the way of the cross with Jesus, to live lives which are not all about feed me, get, all about getting it, but about a lifestyle of giving, of radical, sacrificial surrender to God, in order that in those things life and healing and growth can come. And maybe for some of us right now, we feel the cost, we feel the weight, we feel the strain of that giving. And Jesus wants to tell us in this moment, I'm a worm and not a man. I get it. I understand the cost. I know the weight of surrender, the pain of sacrifice, but your giving is not wasted. It is a seed, and whether right now it's appreciated or not, it's having an effect on generations that you perhaps haven't even seen yet. But there's even more here. Now, this is absolutely remarkable, so remarkable that some of you are going to think that I am making this up, but you can go away and look it up for yourselves, the crimson worm. 3 days after the worm has given its life, has given birth, it changes colour. It turns from crimson red to this beautiful, pure white. There is a transformation of the colours of sacrifice and of death into newness, into cleanness. It's an image, isn't it, of restoration, of resurrection. And the cross shows us actually that resurrection is not the escape from death. Jesus died, but it is the utter transformation of it. And it's important, isn't it, that Jesus sings this song on Good Friday, on a crimson day. He had to remember that this was not a white day, but the white day was coming. There would be, even in this moment, there would be another day. And perhaps today you need this song. Perhaps today is a crimson day for you. Or perhaps it's one of those in-between days. Perhaps you're on that kind of Saturday, day 2 kind of moment. But this song reminds us that there is another day, and actually God does his best work in the dark on day 2. The King is crowned in crimson before he is crowned in gold, and maybe the crown is already being formed in you in the places you feel most broken. This is the song of the cross, and this is the song of the crown.